Elizabeth Gilbert wrote that perfectionism stops people from completing their work, but even worse, it can stop people from even beginning their work. You know, I teach in a middle school context, and middle school life is awesome. There is so much joy, so much laughter, so much humor, so much readiness to actually do things differently. And all of that is really positive. It's a lot of fun to work in that sort of environment. But there is a dark side to middle school. We often hear about this side, and that is the peer pressure side of things. Kids at this age are trying to fit in. They're trying to figure out their place, their role in the social dynamic. And you know, for some kids, it's an easy ride, but for others, it's really, really difficult. And I think it contributes sometimes to the anxiety we hear about, some of the depression, some of those mental and social emotional pressures that our middle school learners face. And I came across it in a small way this week, and I think it expressed itself in the form of perfectionism. You see, about a couple of weeks ago, I assigned this wonderful one-word 2020 activity that was going to be an opportunity for students to express themselves and create something that resembled or represented their identity, something that gave them vision for the future. And it was supposed to be this fun activity, you know, the kind where we can listen to some lo-fi hip-hop and just get creative and talk and put together these things that really represent who it is that we're about. And all of the class got into it, but you know, a week later, only 16 out of my 28 had finished and submitted their copy. A few days later, into the next week, and a few more copies dribbled in, but 10 days after assigning this simple little creative activity, I was still missing 7 out of 28. That's 25% of the class, and so I started to wonder, what is going on here? Like, why are so many students not submitting this one-word 2020? What's the big deal? What's the holdup? What am I missing? So I had a chat with one of my students, one of these 7 students who had not yet submitted their one-word 2020, and I said, hey, what's going on? Where's your piece of art? And he said to me, I'm not really happy with mine. I think I'm going to do it again. And you know, at first glance, that's an admirable sentiment, right? It's evidence of high expectations, of setting the bar high, of looking for excellence, of trying to improve, of multiple iterations of work. It's all of those good things that we want in our learners. And so it's hard to really be upset with a student who tells you that they actually expected better of themselves and they want a second effort. And I think many of us as education professionals, we've been there too. There have been things that we have wanted to do over or wanted to improve in because we're just not happy. We're not satisfied with how things went the first time. In fact, if we're honest, just about everything we do, we're not satisfied with the first time. We always want to improve. And so that in itself is a great spirit to have. We want our students to have that attitude, that approach. But there's a danger here, and that is that perfectionism can be the death of production. All those noble intentions of further iterations of work and improvement and raising the bar, they can all be lost in the sands of time. Those intentions can fade away as more and more learning activities roll out, as we continue to learn and move through the year, and they just start to fade into the rearview mirror. And sooner or later, you start to have students that are systematically, chronically missing submissions. They're not participating, they're not finishing required work and required learning. And that's our bigger concern, is that learning piece. Of course, for some of our learners, the main problem is effort, right? Attention to detail and care and focus and doing the job and doing it well, because they're the kind to just finish work and get it done and submit it and just check all the boxes, and they're not really caring about the quality of work, and therefore the quality of their learning suffers. I'm not talking about those students today. I'm talking about the ones that actually do have a really high bar. They do want to do things well. In fact, they want to do things so well, their bar is so high that it actually holds them back. I think it was Seth Godin who first said that shipped is better than perfect. And Seth Godin comes from this whole sales and marketing world. And the idea here is that if a business has a widget or a product, and that product, all that's happening to that product is it's just sitting there being thought about, being improved upon, being dreamed upon, being, all of these iterations and designs, well, eventually you have to say that product is doing nothing for the business. It has no relevance. It's not connecting with anyone because it's not out there. It hasn't been shipped. So just as it is in business, the same is true in education. In the classroom, our students need to see that product eventually needs to be finished. It needs to be published, it needs to be shared, we need to be able to move on. And we need to be able to not move on in the sense that we're forgetting about the product or the learning outcome, but that we are calling this version 1, and now we're going to look back, reflect, and move toward version 2. But we do need to share, we do need to ship, we need to publish. We need to, in many cases, submit our work, whether it's on Google Classroom or Schoology or Blackboard or whatever it is that you're using. Our students need to submit the work. They need to show what it is that they've done, right? They need to publish. Of course, once that work is out there, once it's been published and shared, that's when the gears of engagement and learning and improvement really become engaged. The process of iterations gains traction, and the journey toward growth and improvement is actually inevitable. And I say inevitable because if you continue the reps, if you do the work with consistency, the improvement will happen. It's almost like it can't not happen. And that's how it is with blogging, with writing, with podcasting, with vlogging. And this is a new space for me, and I'm still not great at it. But that is true of any kind of creation, any kind of work that we do. The more we do of it, the more we will improve. But in order to do the work, in order to get to that place of improvement, we have to ship. We have to hit the publish button. There has to be a finish line for each version of the product. And that's so important for students to see that. This year, I'm trying my hand at blogging and vlogging and podcasting, and I'm doing all of them. And it's demanding a lot of my time, but I'm investing in a future outcome. The future outcome is this idea that I will gain improvement over time, that I will become a master of podcasting and a better writer and an efficient vlogger, and that all of this content will have more value, more contribution, be helpful to more educators in the field. That is the big idea. I have to tell you, almost every time I hit publish on a work, whether it's a blog, a vlog, or a podcast, I have moments of regret. I feel uncomfortable with the process. I know parts that I could have done better. I can see errors, I can see flaws, but I hit publish because it's the confidence that I have that I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to ship, and over time, there's going to be some improvement. And so I ship and ship and ship. Careful with how you say that. I ship and ship and ship my work. I continue to do so with consistency, knowing that mastery comes with time, with reps. And so that's the message I have for my students. There comes a time when you must hit publish, when you must submit the work, when you must let go of the work, even if it's not perfect. Even if it's not perfect, you've got to let go of the work, because it is in letting go of the work that we gain feedback, we gain reflection, we gain information from the public, from our audience, that we can go turn and apply to the practice and make our product better next time. And it's for that reason that shipped is way, way better than perfect. Thanks for watching.